God calls us to seek justice, love mercy and walk humbly with him. We can see this in our mission link, Reaching the Unreached, which is based in southern India. We've been supporting this wonderful work through our mission links. So let's go and find out what's been happening there.
RTU, Reaching the Unreached, is a non-governmental organisation situated in southern India, near the temple town of Madurai. It's been there for 40 years, and its main business is looking after orphaned or abandoned children. There are 800 or more of them in their care in 4 children's villages, and it looks after them, educates them, has a lot of schools, but also does a lot else besides, with building houses in the local community, providing fresh water for the local community, setting up and sponsoring self-help groups among the local villages.
Wonderful, actually. The schools were so well organised and the children seemed to be really interested and happy in their classes. And they were not only schools in the village where the children lived, but there were other schools that they sponsored as well. And they sponsor science teaching in some of the state schools. Amazing what they do.
Whenever I've looked at your photos and I've looked at photographs of children at RTU, they always seem so enthusiastic to learn.
They are. I mean, they're just enthusiastic for life, basically. They're just so lovely and happy. It's wonderful to see them.
And they seem to like putting on shows?
Yes, they do. We had lots of lovely dance shows. It was such fun, actually. They really loved doing it, and they loved us being there. You know, they just came up to us afterwards. And they're just so uninhibited and natural.
And how many children will be in a family?
About 7 children.
Yeah.
And they're all different ages, so it's like a real family. They range from, 5 up to 12. So the older ones can help the younger ones, and they just have a small house, which is amazingly small actually, but they love it. It's just got 2 rooms, and they don't have furniture. They sit on the floor for their meals, and they sleep on the floor at night. They don't. It's a
who looks after them? Do they have a house?
They have a mother. There's a mother in each family house. There's a mother, and she's a woman who is vulnerable or disadvantaged in some way, has been left by her husband, or she's had problems with partner's health or something, and they are trained in childcare and they really know what they're doing.
Ordinarily, the families may be living in a sort of a straw house, really, with a soil earth, and with cyclones and other catastrophic natural disasters, these houses and homes are just unsustainable. And the homes which RTU have provided are concrete structures, again similar to what Pauline has just described about just 2 rooms, but they are solid homes for these families and have an outside sanitary toilet provision and so forth. I think what really touched me while we were there was when James explained to us how many people's lives have been transformed, and through having a proper home that's not going to blow away in the wind, and that it simply costs £1,000 to build a structure that can home and keep safe a family of maybe, 8-9 people. Just £1,000.
The government have instructed all organisations like RTU to be closed, and for the children to go back to the native places, as they call it in India, the places from where they have come. And there are only 200 children at RTU at the moment just now. The others are back home with some relatives or grandparents, in some cases with closer family.
Dear brethren in Jesus Christ, I'm happy to meet you all through this video again. Now we are all in the pandemic and you must have read the effects of it in all over the world. Here in RTU, our services are heavily affected. No school, the children were sent home, and we have very few children, around 100 here, and people don't have work, and therefore they don't have money to buy their food materials. So from April onwards, we started providing dry ration to the people. So far we have given 1,800 dry ration. That means 1,800 families benefited out of this. And people are very happy and grateful to RTU for extending this help to them. And people who lost their job, who could not go for work due to this pandemic, and also the handicapped and the people who could not receive the government ration and so on, were the main target. And secondly, we keep ringing the children who went home from RTU. The wardens, the managers, they called the parents and asked about the well-being of the children. We came across some of the parents were struggling to support their children. In this case, we sent money to their family and supported them. And thus, we supported around 200 children. And besides this, we also provided a little food support for the health workers and mask, and we also made a small COVID whisk, gave to the primary health center. And thus, we tried our best to respond positively to support people. We take good care of children who are residing with us, and every day some sort of learnings are arranged so that to make the day very fruitful and beneficial and enjoyable to the children. My dear brothers and sisters, now you are all now in the church. I earnestly request you to pray for this end of this pandemic, because in the Bible there are a number of pandemics and which was overthrown by the power of God, and now also it is possible. And especially I request your prayers for our RTU children and those who are with us and those who are at home. They may stay safe and return back to RTU soon. Thank you for your patient listening, and may God bless you all.
Final thing was when we went walking around in the village, Pauline and I and a couple of other people found a little cafe that was serving chai, and inside there was a picture on the wall of Brother James. And in our very restricted Tamil, we were having a conversation that these lovely people in their 40s, 50s had indeed been part of the original RTU focus of Father James, and had gone through RTU themselves, and they were just very touched to have us having their tea with them.
It is essentially a Hindu area with a mosque just over the wall. And Brother James, who's lived there for 40 years, was a very devout and prayerful man himself. They all seem to get along together. I can only quote Brother James, who led by his example, and who never saw his job out there in rural India as being that of a missionary, except by showing an example. As he said, God converts people, we don't. We've got a website, rtu.org.uk. On the website, there's lots of information about how you can support a child. You can support various activities at RTU. We have supporters trips, and having done one this year, it'll be fun to go and do another one someday soon. You can support Father Anthony and all the people with him with your prayers.